Can you tell me what's going on?
Just put your hands behind your back before you end up on the ground.
Hello? I'm not breaking anyone's heart.
Dang, you can't help but feel bad for the guy. He clearly was just on his way to work, and the officer didn't explain why he was being detained until over a minute into their interaction. No matter what, Paulding County, Georgia resident Tyler Canaris did not deserve what happened to him next. I will spare you from watching the rest of that, as it's really tough to hear Canaris' screams and cries as Deputy Michael McMaster continues his efforts to arrest him and shouts expletives at him. Throughout the interaction, Canaris maintains that he was just going to work, but Deputy McMaster is clearly having none of that.
You're under arrest for obstruction, at least.
How?
You didn't want to fucking listen. Put your hands behind your back. That's simple. Then I told you you're going to end up on the ground. You still didn't do that. Then your ass ended up on the ground, didn't it?
I wasn't trying to.
You wasn't trying to. How old are you?
Please.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
You're older than me. Act like a man.
I'm just trying to get to work. I'm seriously not trying to do anything, please.
As Canaris continues to beg for his release, McMaster keeps berating him for allegedly resisting arrest as he searches through the contents of his backpack.
When the cops say put your hands behind your back, you do it.
I don't know what I did wrong.
I was trying to explain to you, but you wanted to keep pulling away. So now you're under arrest for obstruction.
Can you please call my dad, please?
How old are you, 29? I'm not calling your dad.
What?
I'm not calling your dad. You're 29.
Later on, as Canaris can be heard yelping while in the squad car, another officer on the scene jokes about what happened.
So I'm like, where is he? So I'm like, all right, let me just pull up and see, maybe he took off running or something.
Yeah.
I'll just see legs up. Son of a... I just go 920 shows 10. What's going on?
I tried keying up, it wouldn't go out, and I was like, it, dude.
Then, McMaster confirms that Canaris fit the description of the individual who was seen trying to break into other people's cars.
Male backpack, right? Dark clothing?
Yeah. I mean, it matches to a T. I'm willing to bet he's on camera.
I'm sorry, that's all they had to go on? That's the vaguest description. There could be hundreds of people who match that on any given day. So, under that logic, any man walking in and around the neighborhood could be deemed reasonably suspicious enough to be manhandled like that? That doesn't seem right at all. As if all of that wasn't ridiculous enough, McMaster somehow seems to question and want validation for his decision to use blunt force against Canaris.
Just want to make sure it's him. Because he didn't really have... just in case he hit his head pretty good.
Fair.
Maybe, just maybe, Deputy McMaster could have undertaken a little more effort before hurling Canaris to the ground. Like I said, that incredibly ambiguous description he went off of just doesn't seem reasonable. Not without extenuating circumstances at least. In any event, the officers engage in more laughter and joke about the matter.
This is how we're going to start the day off, huh?
I guess. Friday, it's not even... It's 6:13.
I didn't stretch before any of this shit, man.
I just saw legs go up. I'm like, oh, we're...
God damn it, Paulding, 10-10.
Through his diligent search of Canaris' belongings, the only items found that could perhaps be used in a carjacking, at least according to McMaster's reaction upon finding them, were a pair of gloves. However, without any other substantiating evidence, the officers still assume that Canaris was the person of interest.
I don't think he ever made it into a car, did he?
He was
that we know
trying.
of. Yeah, he was trying.
He was trying.
If it is him...
He had criminal intent all day.
Yeah, criminal intent.
Around 11 minutes into the encounter, the members of the fire department roll up, seemingly to inspect the damage and treat the injuries on Canaris' body.
Oh, okay.
See if you got any of my shit.
Right?
My wife likes to leave her car unlocked.
I don't think he actually got into a car. I dropped him on his head right there.
Oh, okay, cool.
I got boo-boos too, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to interject here and point out the irony of a man who claims to have boo-boos after accusing another of acting like a child because he was crying after his head was slammed onto the ground. Of the incident, Paulding County Sheriff Gary Gullidge said, in part, at approximately 6 a.m. on March 4, 2022, Deputy Michael McMaster of the Paulding County Sheriff's Office responded to a report of a suspicious person who was wearing a hoodie and a backpack, attempting to break into a vehicle in the Evans Mill subdivision. A short time later, Deputy McMaster arrived at the location and observed Tyler Lee Canaris, white male, 30 years old approximately, walking along the roadside at the entrance to the subdivision. Mr. Canaris, who was wearing a hoodie and a backpack, appeared to match the description of the suspect that was provided by dispatch. For whatever reason, the dashcam footage of this incident was only just released, almost a year after the incident actually occurred. Nevertheless, the video has blown up on social media, and many are calling for action against McMaster. And it's clear that Canaris is not going to let justice go unserved because he's already suited up with attorneys. They said that his injuries were extensive on top of the misdemeanor for obstruction. Many reactions across social media have slammed McMaster and the Paulding County Sheriff's Office for filing such charges because Canaris' confusion was reasonable under the circumstances and should not have been considered obstruction, or led to the excessive force, of course. Tyler suffered a left clavicle fracture and currently has pins in his shoulder that will be with him for the rest of his life, attorney Sean Williams said. Williams further said that
what the video doesn't show is that Paulding County knew all of this. They've had this video that you guys saw last week, they've had it almost a year.
Canaris' right hand and skull were fractured. He also ruptured an eardrum, suffered a concussion, and was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury. At least some of these injuries were notable at the scene because of a blood spot that McMaster is later heard pointing out to the firefighters and seen spraying something onto it.
Yeah, I think that's a blood spot.
Yeah.
Canaris claims that his mental health has also declined since the incident. In a press conference with his lawyers, he said,
"After it happened, I had trouble walking to work and not thinking that there was a cop following me."
The medical treatment required apparently left Canaris with $75,000 worth of medical bills. All of that just because he was walking to work and matched the description of being a man wearing dark clothes and having a backpack. Another attorney, Taurus Butterfield, commented,
"There was no probable cause to stop Tyler. There was nothing to suggest that Tyler committed any crime whatsoever. So this was an unlawful arrest."
Butterfield called for the charge against Canaris to be dismissed immediately. His attorneys and the public are wondering why Paulding County sat on this footage for so long. Canaris' attorneys also confirmed that it was determined that he was not the suspect in the alleged break-ins. They said that they're planning to file a civil suit against the county on their client's behalf. There was so much public outcry after the video was released that Paulding County enlisted the help of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to review the arrest and use of force by McMaster. Once the video came out, we made the decision to get the Georgia Bureau of Investigation involved and let them look at it and get their unbiased third-party opinion on what took place, and if there were any criminal actions that took place in that incident, Paulding County Sheriff Sergeant Ashley Henson said. When asked by the local news if deputies are trained to use McMaster's technique to subdue someone, Henson said, "We're aware of the optics of this incident. Because we've turned the case over to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and there is pending potential civil litigation in the case, we're not going to elaborate on that portion of the case." As of Friday, February 17, 2023, McMaster, who's been with the sheriff's office for 9 years, has been put on desk duty while the GBI's review is underway. In a video, while admittedly filmed from behind a filter, which she explained is because she has cancer, shorter hair now, and wanted to use an older picture instead, Tyler's mom, Gina Davis, said,
"I want to thank everyone all around the world for being a voice for my son, Tyler Canaris. Thank you for seeing and saying what's wrong. Hopefully one day we can make it right."
If you enjoyed this video about seeking justice for someone who is the victim of an officer abusing his power, Check out this video where a young college athlete blows zeros on a breathalyzer, but is still arrested for suspicion of operating while intoxicated.